What up, Cagesiders?
Oh, why are you yelling?
Because I can't hear anything. I'm all congested. Hopefully, you can't get sick through a video podcast Google Hangout thing. Because if so, everybody's gonna be ill.
I was gonna say samesies.
And not even, not like the Beastie Boys kind of ill either. Like sick, not the Jason Jordan sick. I don't know what I'm talking about. What's
not like
up?
Zack Ryder sick.
Sick burn, dude.
Bro me. That's always gonna be stupid as hell. Bro me.
Or sick burn or Zack Ryder or all of the above.
All of the above. I apologize if I sound weird, although I think I sound sexy when I'm sick. I'll try to avoid the stuff. Although
if you weren't snorting like mucus back up your nose, you might sound sexy. The baritone is cool, but the rest of it is.
Yeah, I think I sound sexy.
Unless somebody's got a snot fetish out there, which I'm sure it's the internet, so somebody probably does.
And if you're out there, let's have a conversation.
Mm-hmm. DM Geno at Cageside Seats on Twitter.
Although other people could be looking at it, so just be aware of that.
That's true. Yeah, true.
Like Sean acting like he's me.
Yeah, but I haven't done that as much. I don't know. Well, you keep faking me out and saying "take it over," and then you're just right back on there like 2 days later. So.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
It's been a while, man. What's happened? When did we do this last week? So we can talk about live at MSG, but we probably won't. We could talk about Raw, which I actually slept through, but I did watch the Hulu version.
We've missed like 6 shows.
Something like that, yeah. TakeOver happened.
Well, MSG was a waste of time.
Pretty much. I don't even really remember it, so yeah, I guess that's true.
The Tokyo show, at least, had a title change. Sort of had the novelty of being a Japan show. Also, we didn't know what to expect. I mean, it was live at 5 a.m., so it even had a sort of, appeal to it just based on, we were delirious. And
exactly. We felt like we were sick even though we weren't. You stayed up all fucking night for it. You madman.
Yeah, I wish I could go back to how I felt that night.
I think one thing that I noticed about it was, and we talked to Greenfield about this, our good buddy, Cagesider Alex Greenfield, former SmackDown head writer.
Name drop.
Yep. Big time. Big time in you. Big time in everybody. Anyway, that you could tell on that show that it wasn't a Vince/Kevin Dunn produced show. And I'm not saying that to shit on Kevin Dunn, even though why not? We could. It just felt different. The commentary was different. Everything about it it felt like something special and unique. And this one felt like Raw. Right down to the commentary, the camera angles, everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't need to stay home on Saturday night to watch Raw. Watching Brock sell for Big Show for a couple minutes doesn't make it special.
Yeah, that was really interesting that they would spend any time having Brock do anything and then not have the other guy sell for it. I don't care who it is.
Yeah.
But especially someone like Big Show. But that's the world of the WWE universe, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Where
it's acceptable because they think it's acceptable for this moment, even though, 3 weeks ago, Big Show was, I ended up agreeing with everybody else, essentially, by the end of that. I think I wrote that in the recap, which was the idea. It was either don't promote his opponent and just, hey, Brock will be at the Garden for the first time since Mania 20, that fucking disaster. And he's actually going to be, people are going to like him this time, and you're going to get to watch him throw somebody around. Tune in to find out, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And he threw around the New Day in Japan, and it worked out just fine. I mean, Kofi, he damn near killed poor Kofi multiple times, which is that's the allure. It's a lion playing with a hyena, and you just watch it. Like sometimes if you have cats,
mm-hmm.
If your cat catches a mouse, you tend to watch the cat fuck with the mouse. The cats they're great. They're sadistic little shits. They will take the mouse in their mouth, drop it in the middle of the floor, and then take a step back and just wait.
Mm-hmm.
And when the mouse tries to run for its life, the cat will pounce. It will hunt it after it already successfully completed the hunt.
Right. It just does it for play. Right.
That's essentially Brock Lesnar.
Yep.
And except he's probably more vicious. He'll finish off much faster. He'll get in and get out, and get in, murder, get out, and which is a great thing. And this time it was like, well, we were supposed to believe that the mouse was actually a fellow cat, a bigger cat, and Brock sold for a minute and then just did the same thing. Doing the build, I guess, is what provided the credibility to have him sell, which I guess in a way works, but in another way, I don't know. I didn't like it.
Yeah, it was just. I mean, the other thing that was weird was then they did like it was Lillian did a special like give Big Show a big hand, Madison Square Garden. It was just a weird.
Did she?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yep. After Brock's because he comes back and hits the F5 again since he botched the one.
Right.
And then after he and Heyman left, Lillian does a give it up for the Big Show, everybody, and he got like a half-hearted round of applause, which was his house show stuff, I guess. But that it all goes back to that Vince thinks Big Show's a bigger draw than we do, kind of a thing.
Yeah. Meltzer and Alvarez were talking about this on an Observer Radio the other day. Not to plug those guys, but they have most of the same concerns about like Bayley that I do. Like Vince watches NXT, and you can imagine him watching NXT and looking at someone like Chad Gable and not understanding what it is that people are cheering for.
Right.
He probably doesn't see Kurt Angle, right? Like so many other people look at it, because he's so small. He's really small. And relative to a typical WWE star. Well, Big Show's not. Like, are we really fucking shocked that the biggest dudes on the roster are the ones who are getting the pushes all the time? Are we shocked that the opponent they went with Brock was Big Show? Because, you know, everyone's like, why do they keep doing this? They don't sell, they don't make money, this and the other thing. You know what? It's because go back there, and who is the biggest dude who stands out the most in that locker room? Big Show and Kane.
Yep.
And maybe it's not that simple, but you know what? Maybe it is.
That's definitely part of it. I mean, I don't know if that's all of it. I'm not going to say that it's totally Vince's, bodybuilder fetish or whatever, but it's part of it. That's an old school mentality too.
I just think it's okay. So, I mean, they're not wrong in the sense of like, okay, so it's difficult to determine surely what's going to make somebody a star. And don't call me Shirley. Sorry. I talk about it. I posted the backstage video late last night when I couldn't sleep at MSG that Heyman put up with Brock. And you can watch the video. There's nothing groundbreaking there. Like, it's just they play the promo that he did with Renee Young, and you see him chatting with Paige a little bit, and he talks to the camera a little bit. But the cool part of the video is when Brock shows up, and he's just walking backstage, and he's just standing there talking to Heyman, and then they go to a meeting with Vince. You don't see Vince, but Brock's knocking on the door, and he's kind of looking around, and then he fakes like he's punching whoever answers it. And which is great, yeah. But the big thing is watching it. Even through video, you can't help but be in awe of Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
He's truly larger than life. He's just got something about him, a presence that there's no way to teach that. You can teach someone to be a good wrestler. You can't teach someone to have that just something about them where they you want to watch them. They command your attention. And that's Brock Lesnar. Like, I wish there could just be a camera on him at all times. I would never stop watching it. If the network was just following Brock Lesnar around, even if he's just sitting on the fucking couch, it's because that's how he is for me. And for many others, obviously. Mm-hmm. Now, you don't get that with Daniel Bryan. And I don't mean to pick on D-Bry. He's a great wrestler. There's a lot of dudes out there who are great wrestlers, and people go, well, why don't you push the great wrestlers? You know who else you don't get that with? And I'm fucking sorry. Cesaro. Love watching Cesaro wrestle. He is so not a dude who commands your attention. He's just not. That's part of the problem. And a couple people go, well, that's not fair. You're right. It's not fair. It's totally unfair. But it's just the fucking way it is. And the Cesaro section stuff is cool, but if he was really commanding attention and getting over in that way, then they would push that. They would.
Yeah, I don't actually, as much as I love Cesaro, I don't disagree with you on him. I would disagree on Bryan. I don't think he's a Lesnar caliber star, but I mean, they do special. I mean, Total Divas is partially a success because people like to watch Daniel Bryan just hang out.
No, I don't mean the star. I mean the presence.
Well, whatever it is about Bryan also has whatever it is in some way, because just like you said, people don't. I think I read somewhere the Cesaro section thing is sort of dying out because fans aren't that into Cesaro. Really, I mean, some of us are, but not. He doesn't connect with everybody. I feel like Bryan does connect with everybody. So there's a different kind of uncharacterizable charisma to Daniel Bryan. It's not the same as Brock Lesnar, but he's got something.
I think that's more story. Bryan's got a story. Because Bryan wasn't shit in WWE for years and years and years until it became, there was just a sequence of events that occurred. The Rumble, the way that Cole had buried him for years and people and that actually worked. And he turned heel and his heel work was fantastic. And the AJ thing, and then they beat him at WrestleMania to a crowd of people you got enough people who were fans of him, who helped get him over by doing the yes stuff. He got the yes chant, and people talk shit, but yes, that is a big part of what helped him get over. That fucking chant, dude, like everything came together.
I agree with everything you're saying, but he was the guy that was there for all that, and you do that to somebody else, and I don't think it works. Not the same way. He came up with the yes chant.
Right,
I mean, that's part of his thing.
Well, he didn't come up with it. He stole it from Diego Sanchez.
Well, yeah, but he's the one. I mean, everything's stolen. There's nothing new under the sun.
That's true. But my main point is that what I'm saying is, and he got over for a different reason, and of course there are different reasons you can get over, right? But Cesaro will never have that. He'll never have that going for him. And plus, Bryan's also, it works in his favor that he's an everyday dude, because for the purposes of the story that they're telling with that, right? That he's just not, he is you, essentially, except he's a way better wrestler than you could ever dream to be. And they're fucking him over, and they're not going to stop fucking him over. Like, it's never going to stop because he doesn't have that presence. And so that is what turned into the thing. But what I'm saying with Brock is that if you walk into a room of 30 people and Brock Lesnar's in the room, it doesn't matter who else is in the room.
But part of that is his size, though, dude. If Brock Lesnar was Chad,
absolutely.
If he was 5'8", then it wouldn't be. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
that's the point. That's why they don't push guys like Bryan, because you walk into a room of 30 people, and that's part of it, dude. Like, and that's so you can get a guy like Bryan over based on that fact, right? That you are an unassuming fucking dude wearing flannel that literally I wouldn't recognize you in a grocery store, dude. Like, you're just a dude. You're really good at wrestling, but you're just a dude. Remember, wrestling is one of the last things that you need to be good at to actually succeed in the wrestling business, which is fucking nuts, but it's the case. I mean, Austin's biggest years were when he was doing a kick, punch, and a stunner.
Yep.
So I'm just saying, like, so if we want to question these things, why is this? Well, you go into a room with 30, always think of that. If I'm in a room with 30 people and this guy's in there, who's everyone going to be looking at? Brock Lesnar is absolutely the center of attention in a room of 30 people. It doesn't matter who else is in the room. You might not even know Bryan's in the room if it's a room of 30 people, if you're not in the right spot to see it.
Right. Well, that's the old school thing too, is that these guys have to be that big.
You have to command
in a 15,000 arena. And there was also, I was reading an interview with Edge. I think it was on WWE.com this week. Adam Copeland, as he's known to fans of the Flash television series now.
Yeah, because he doesn't work the gimmick outside of.
No, wrestling. He's an actor.
He's great for that. I love it.
But he was saying that was one of the big things for him when he switched over to doing television, fiction, serialized fiction television as opposed to wrestling fiction television, is that at 6'4", 240, he was like just every other dude backstage at Raw. And then he walks onto the set of Haven or whatever that show was, and he's towers over everybody.
Fucking gigantic.
Yeah.
The average American male is what, 5'10"?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. It's not Well, I guess he's not American, but I don't know what it is in Canada.
North American.
He
He's American. He's not a United States citizen. He's a North American.
North American. That's
whatever.
Yeah. Canada's way cooler anyway. Canada, baby. But yeah, that's an old throwback to my cousin Mike. Who's definitely not listening, but shout out to Mike. We was like, we wanted to go to Canada and live in Canada. Well, it's funny because there's nothing in Canada. Let's be real.
Fun city, but yeah, I don't know anything else.
The Blue Jays who can't beat the Rangers, and we'll talk about the rivalry. Yeah, we will. He's like, no, we won't. We're not. I see you're still wearing the hat.
I'm ride or die with my teams, but I don't really want to talk about them today. Either one of any of them, any team from Pittsburgh, I don't want to talk about.
Just a disaster for everyone.
It's been a horrible fucking week.
I said in Slack, everybody, we're getting ready to talk about, because this was during the NXT show, and this will be our transition to talk about that show, our segue, since we're experts at it. They said it's Pittsburgh versus Chicago. So I said, so it's Sean versus Geno. You're not a baseball fan. I'm like, well, no, but anything to get a rivalry with you going.
Yeah, there you go.
And then, yeah, Jake Arrieta.
We need to get Fagan back on here so he can have a coronary.
He was pissed too, yeah.
He's just a Cubs hater. He's not. He put some bad mojo on my team, though, I think.
But a good week for Chicago, though. The Bears finally got a win.
Yeah.
Cubs are actually going to go play the Cardinals now.
I think the Cubs they may win it all, but we'll see.
Yeah. But yeah, so while you were trying to avoid the heartbreak of Pittsburgh, once again, if the wild card game didn't exist, Pittsburgh would be good to go in baseball, but it does, and they can never win.
My entire life with baseball has been painful. They were really good when I was in college, and they lost horribly in the playoffs every year. But
did they?
Yeah.
Have they ever? I don't know if they baseball.
It's been a long time. I mean, they've been around forever, and they've had some pretty amazing moments, but they were mostly before I was born.
So
they upset the Yankees in 1960. Roberto Clemente won a couple World Series that were pretty cool over the Orioles. They came back, and they were down 3-1 and came back and beat the Orioles in '79. That was the only one that I was alive for. But it's been a long time.
For the World Series, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. So you have been alive for one, though.
I was 7 for one, yeah.
See, I haven't been alive for a Bears Super Bowl. They've won once, and I was born.
I distinctly remember the Bears Super Bowl, man. I was like, what was I, 13 or something like that? Super Bowl Shuffle.
I was born the next year, so they won in January. They won in January of '86. I was born in May of '87.
Coach Ditka.
Duck Coach. Which, let's be real.
He's from Pittsburgh, so there you go.
Is he? The Super Bowl Shuffle's great because it's the stupidest thing on earth. It's a great heel thing.
It really is.
They were
phenomenal heels. Jim McMahon was a great fucking heel.
Yeah, Jim McMahon
hated him.
Yeah. He was a good anti-hero too, because he just didn't give a shit about the commissioner. And they're constantly telling you, you can't do this. Stop doing this. You can't wear the headband, or you can't write shit on you or whatever. And he would just do it anyway. Didn't
he take a piss at practice? Like he took his dick out in front of a helicopter that was he was crazy.
Yeah, no, he was there. He had an injury to his ass.
Yeah.
So people were trying to figure out, trying to get a look at his ass. And he's like, well, I figured I'd help him out. So he just fucking mooned him. He just pulled his pants all the way down. That's the Bears back then. That's great. And now we have misfits like Jay Cutler, except
fucking Jay.
We don't go 15-1 or 18-1 and almost undefeated and win a Super Bowl. Now we just barely scrape by and beat the fucking Raiders, and
Yeah, the Steelers can't beat the Raiders. They always beat us every fucking year. So don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
Yeah, I suppose we're getting housed by the Chiefs, though. Anyway,
back to wrestling.
While you were trying to avoid the pain of the Pirates, there was a very, very, very good show happening on the WWE Network. NXT. Yeah, that's right.
It's not there, so I guess we'll allow it.
She was sitting next to Stephanie, which apparently I was told by someone on our Twitter that Stephanie is a huge Becky Lynch fan, which is like
it's not doing her any good, but okay.
What?
I said it's not doing her any good right now, but okay.
Yeah, it's weird. She's not. She's an ancillary player. She's a supporting character to Charlotte. She's the reason Charlotte gets fired up, apparently. You can run Charlotte down. You can talk shit about everybody in the world, But if you say something bad about Becky Lynch, Charlotte will lose her fucking mind. Anyway, NXT, man, what an awesome show. That's an A+ show to me. I don't see anything wrong.
I mean, I had a couple of gripes. I'm
You
not
could
crazy.
nitpick.
Yeah, well, my main thing is it's unusual for me with NXT is I did have a problem with the booking of the tag tournament.
Now, explain this to me. Why are people upset that instead of the teams, the actual teams like the Dash and Wilders of the world and the Gable and Jordans of the world, they lose to the singles MASH stars,
right?
Rhinos and Corbins and the Joes and Valors? Why are people so upset about this?
I think, and this ties into the Eva Marie debate too, is because NXT has become, for most of its fans, it has become sort of, and this is Triple H's brilliance, is he's created the anti-main roster within WWE. So people expect NXT to do things differently than how the main roster would, and for the most part, they do. I mean, look at this show. We had nothing but actual finishes to matches. There was no swerve. I mean, there was very little. There was no swerving. Did anybody even cheat to win? I don't think so. I think it was all clean.
Sasha cheated throughout the entire match.
Well, yeah, but she didn't win.
Right.
So, so the babyface managed to overcome. But she didn't cheat. I mean, it's 2 out of 3 falls. Where's the...
Well, she cheated to gain her falls, but it's fine.
Well, yeah, I mean, within wrestling. I mean, she didn't, whatever. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't, it is still wrestling, but there was no, I mean, nobody came in, like, Nia Jax didn't come in and chokeslam Bailey to let Sasha win.
Distraction
which
finish.
Is what would have happened on the main roster. I mean,
yeah, there was no stupid distraction. Well, it was the first fall that Sasha got was the
eye poke, yeah.
They fake bumped the ref.
Right.
They faked out a bump on the ref, and then she used his being in the corner to shield him and get an eye poke. And then
but again, I mean, that's like the Jim Ross stuff.
Good.
Jim Ross's complaints about Seth Rollins' run, where like if you're a heel, you're supposed to
do shit like that.
Yeah, you create that advantage for yourself. That makes you look good.
And he never does.
It's not that circumstances helped her out. She made that happen. So
that's what people talk about when they say that he's not. His work is he works babyface, and as some people. I've seen people, they don't really understand what we mean when we say that. But what we mean is you watch the match like what you saw with Sasha and Bailey, and not that we're going to focus too much on that because people are going to get mad at us. But Sasha literally got a pin in this Iron Man match by shielding the referee, poking Bailey in the eye, and then rolling her up. You never see Rollins do that. What you see Rollins do is flippy shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's babyface stuff.
Right.
You see someone flying around doing a fucking Phoenix Splash, you want to cheer for that. It doesn't matter who it is because it's a really impressive looking move. So that's the problem that we're talking about with that. Keep going.
So the tag, back to the tag tournament though. I mean, I think.
So you're saying NXT is the booking that we don't get from WWE.
Right.
And then
so people were, I think there was an initial sort of backlash when even there were so many of these makeshift, the creative has nothing for you singles guys pairings in the tournament. And then all the way throughout, I mean, if you look at like the predictions posts that we had and everything, everybody was like, I don't think Finn and Joe winning was that big of a shock, or at least making the finals. But most people saw, and I think, people are really behind Gable and Jordan, the smart fans. So them losing to Corbin and Rhino, a couple of guys that people certainly going into this show weren't super behind, although they had probably, I mean, I almost called it the match of the night because their semifinal match was fucking insane. It's just a really fun, good match. But yeah, people were expecting this to be the time when Triple H and NXT put forward real tag wrestling and brought it back and really put over one of their young established teams that are going to stay a team moving forward. And instead they put 2 teams that are going to break up in the finals, and then, started the breakup of one of them in a Fallout video, basically. So, I mean, not a breakup, not a feud necessarily, but eventually it's going to be that. So that's what it was, is that people expect NXT to do something different from main roster booking, and what they got out of this tournament ended up being kind of main roster booking. Putting over guys that people didn't think needed put over at the expense of, or not at the expense of, but when you had the opportunity to really make a young team and say, they're the first team to ever win the Dusty, And instead, it's like giving Big Show the Andre the Giant trophy, basically, kind of a thing.
Well, I think too, to me, it's like, okay, are Jordan and Gable are heels?
Yeah, they're heels that Full Sail loves, and that everybody on the internet loves. So,
but they're heels.
It's tricky, yeah, they're heels.
So you can smart work.
Everybody in the semifinals was heels except for Balor and Joe. It was 3 heel teams.
What does that tell you? What does that tell you? They're doing a thing where they're being classy, and they did, man. WWE fucks this shit up constantly, but they were as awesome and classy about this as they could. Mm-hmm. So when you think about it, really simplify the shit, man. You look at it, you work yourself up and go, well, they should have had the tag team, and you get so concerned with the booking of it that you lose sight of the little things like, you know what? The one fucking babyface team, true blue babyface team, right? Balor's fuck babyface, like legit. Like there's nothing to hate about the dude just yet. As far as I think they need to turn him heel. And the Balor Club should be a stable, and he should be the heel leader of it. And that should be, we could talk about that. And then Joe, and then they're together, and we were expecting an angle, and we work ourselves up with this, like, we fantasy book the shit, and we don't just let it play out a lot of times. So it's, well, you're going to win, someone's got to win the Dusty Classic, and they're paying tribute. Are they going to run a fucking angle with that? You can't have the heels win this. You can't. So if that's the one babyface team, of course they're going to fucking win. And it's the champion of the whole promotion. And then another really big star. So it just makes sense to me that that's what you would do. I mean, and yes, it comes at the expense of quote-unquote real tag teams. But you notice this didn't hurt the show in any way at all.
No, it didn't. And it's definitely a nitpick. And you could have done it. I mean, Gable and Jordan aren't like they're not fucking DX heels. They wouldn't have like trashed the trophy or anything. They could have said, I mean, anybody could have won because even the heels have been talking about what Dusty meant to them as a mentor. Kayfabe is weird in NXT. It's like half reality show, half kayfabe. They
obliterate it constantly. It's Triple H's version of reality, and in some ways, it's complete horseshit.
So they could have. I mean, I think they could, and they could have had Joe and Balor lose, and then do an honorable thing, saying, we gave it our best shot. And now it's time for us to prove ourselves against each other. Because they could have done the exact same thing. So that was their choice. They decided to.
I agree with them on it. I don't think you put the heels over in a tournament where you're winning a trophy for a dude that just died. I mean, you go.
Well, then the other argument that is out there is that you don't eliminate your most over tag team, which is Enzo and Cass, which haven't appeared on 2 takeovers in a row now, even though they're nuclear over with everybody. And who Enzo was one of Dusty's personal projects and wrote some of like the most touching shit that was out there that wasn't written by Cody or Goldust right after Dusty died. You could have put them over.
Maybe they just felt like they're not an appropriate.
Or they just felt like they were going to sort of swerve people a little bit with a I mean, I think they like to do that too. People expect a certain thing and then they don't give it to you. There's nothing wrong with that.
This is going to sound weird, but like, can you imagine Cody Rhodes in there giving that promo? Tonight we're all Rhodes, and like Enzo is the dude
Yeah, why not?
I don't know.
Plus, he wore fucking polka dots, dude. I mean, this is.
Yeah, but I'm just Finn, and
I mean, Finn those guys didn't say anything. All you have to do is accept the trophy.
Yeah, and be classy and have that classy sort of feel. And like Enzo and Big Cass, that's not really their shtick. It's not their.
But all they have to do is stand there and take the trophy, and I mean, have Enzo with his, whatever he had written on his tape for like a week after Dusty died, Hard Times. I mean, it wouldn't ruin anything. Nobody's looking back on this and gonna remember it as like the fucking most touching thing about this show anyway.
Exactly.
So why does it have to be Finn?
I'm not saying it has to be Finn necessarily. I'm just saying. I think they've thought, let's go as classy as we can with as the baby faces who are true blue, and you get people worked up thinking there's going to be a swerve, and there's not. And yeah, I don't disagree with it. I
don't have, like I said, it doesn't ruin anything for me. I understand why they did it. I just think you asked what's the argument against it, and so I'm presenting it. I mean,
okay.
I mean, I think they could have gone a different. My least favorite matches on this show probably involved Finn and Joe, so I didn't think they really stood out.
Hot Tag Joe was fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't think he's done work like that since he was motivated.
He's the last month he's really found his stride in this tournament, really. I mean, he does great work with smaller guys. He always has. And he got a chance to really show that off here. He's going to get a chance to show it off with Finn when they finally do get together.
Are they gonna?
I think eventually, but I think, like I said, I mean, NXT is all about teasing this shit out. I mean, everybody was convinced that Bayley was never going to get put over. People, it's too late. They ruined it. They said the same thing about Sammy. Oh, he's lost too much. It'll never work. So they slow burn these things. I mean, it might be Joe versus Finn might not happen until like the fucking WrestleMania show TakeOver, but it'll happen.
Wrestling fans are weird. Wrestling fans definitely get weird about stuff. We get too. It's too shoot to enjoy the work.
Yep.
We got to stop that shit sometime. People are like, and I saw something, and I didn't agree with all of it, but somebody tweeted something and say wrestling fans, they get mad about the booking for a heel when he cheats to win or loses a lot because it means he looks weak. It's like missing the point.
Right.
Like people like Rollins is the weakest champion ever. Well, he is as far as like as a drawing card, as a dude you want to pay to see, but he's not weak because he's cheating or keeping his title via being a scared, cowardly heel champ, right? Like that's the point. Like that's the angle they're working. It's not like he doesn't look strong enough to be competitive. Like that's not, he's a fucking heel. Like it's not, you're missing the point. So it's that shit can be really frustrating. So they're like, well, they lose too much. Sometimes that's the point. Like the Bayley stuff that we just got to experience wouldn't have meant much of anything had they not beat her constantly. Right. You needed to lose. You needed to feel that way. They needed to make you feel like, I'm fucking never going to win. Yep. It's so cool to, if the Cubs win the World Series, Chicago will feel a joy unlike any, I plan on looting because they're going to riot. And I'm going to get
He's joking. Don't break the law, people.
Yes, I'm just kidding, everybody. I'm not going to get a new TV and new electronics and everything. I'm just thinking they're 100 years plus deprived of the goal, man. Like it's every year they're trying and every year they fail, sometimes spectacularly. And that's essentially, that's the shit we say that we wish they would do with John Cena. Yeah. Like just beat him constantly, and then so he can come back up and be a Bayley. And they just will never do that.
And it's like you said, I mean, and I don't think this is unique to wrestling. I think it's a people problem but I mean, we do. People complain if they don't tell long-term stories, and then when they're in the middle of telling a long-term story, they complain that they're not getting the payoff they want when they want it. And like I said, I mean, I think to use the sports analogy again, it's awesome when the team that waits 100 years wins. That's a great story. But then you also get like Patriots fans or, my people, when it comes to our football team in Pittsburgh, it's the same way. I mean, if the Super Bowl isn't every year, it's fuck this, fire Tomlin, and I hate everybody. And, so you people get both ways about everything. But wrestling fans definitely,
here's the difference.
We're very hard to please as wrestling fans.
Yes. Here's the difference. If the Steelers win, okay, and if the Steelers go 12-4, and then they win all the way through and win the Super Bowl, along the way, you're not going to bitch if they're winning 10-3.
Yeah, people will. There are people who will.
Okay, they will bitch only in as much as how it affects their ability to think about winning the next game.
I think people bitch because they don't enjoy the game they're watching enough too. People will bitch about
that as much in sports. It's this game's not good enough. At least for me and everyone I've ever been around. I've never really met people who are like that. I'm a football guy, I should say. I don't know about all sports. I'm a football guy. So if the Bears win, I don't give a fuck how it happened. They won the game. That's all I care about. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I'll sit there and go, well, I'm worried, that Cutler threw those interceptions. And then, Forte had that real bad fumble, and the defense still looks real shaky, but we won, right? So it's not like, you don't get to be a Patriot fan and you fucking got the dudes who continue to somehow get away with cheating their asses off, and you have one of the best quarterbacks in the history of the league with one of the best coaches, even despite the cheating in the history of the league, and you consistently field one of the best teams in the league for like a decade plus, and it's complete horse shit and makes everyone hate you because you're so good. Everyone's dating a model. It's like, what the hell?
They're great heels.
They're great heels. Yeah, that's true. But we won't, and their fans are insufferable jackasses who don't understand. I guess you're right in a way, because those fans bitch too.
Mm-hmm.
Those fans bitch about Brady.
Yep.
You're right. Wow.
I mean, I know. You're making me think maybe Steelers fans are horrible, but I don't think we're alone, because if you go on, plug to the way that I found the SB Nation family of websites, BehindTheSteelCurtain.com, go through a comment threads in there after a win, and there's people bitching about everything. So, I mean,
you're right. It's funny too, because I used to, when I had my old school Twitter, Geno Time originated with me complaining and having meltdowns about the Bears. And people would always come to me and they go, I love reading this because it's an entertaining meltdown that you have, but it's always hilarious to me to read your meltdown and then look at the score. Because it'll be Geno's losing his fucking mind, and then they look and the Bears are winning 20-7.
Yep.
What's the matter with you? It's like,
yep.
We inherently focus on the negative things because it's easier to focus on the negative, and it's more productive to focus on the negative. Let's also say that, because
it can always be better, right?
You can't improve on the positive. I mean,
right.
You can.
And perfect isn't interesting.
Yeah, and they take the positive and make it negative. The greats like Belichick is like, yeah, we won this game and that's awesome, but so what? I'm more concerned. They won 52-7. I'm more concerned about why we gave up that touchdown.
Watch a Nick Saban press conference ever. See if he says anything good about his team.
Yeah, because it's just not so. But with wrestling fans, it's like.
Well, part of the problem with wrestling fans is that we're doing that about something that isn't a shoot. I mean, when you're doing that about sports, there's stuff to always be legitimately concerned about, because it's. It's not scripted. It's not.
And your end goal stays the same in sports.
Right.
You just want your team to win. And even if you're bitching, you're still happy.
Right.
Because your team won. If your team won, and if they lost, they did. So it's a very simple barrier to overcome or it's a very simple thing that will make you ultimately accepting of the situation.
Right.
Right. And chances are you're not a Browns fan or a Lions fan. So, like, you're okay. Everyone's been good. I mean, the league is such that everyone gets their time to be good, unless you like Cleveland or Detroit. In wrestling, Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it is. Nobody complains. The one win that nobody complains about is the Super Bowl win, or the World Series win, or the Stanley Cup win, which makes wrestling different, because people will complain about a championship win. Oh, they didn't put him over strong enough.
Yep, they'll complain about how it happened.
Yep.
Like Pittsburgh, Seattle, 2005.
Oh, yeah.
Ben Roethlisberger played the worst game of his career.
The worst game by a starting quarterback ever in a Super Bowl. Yeah.
The referees were calling some ridiculous penalties. I believe there was a phantom holding call on a guy who wasn't even on the field, but they called his number, and there was no one even in the area that they claimed it was in, or they threw the flag. Just a lot of stuff like that. So you come out of that, and in a lot of ways you feel bad, but a lot of the Pittsburgh fans also. And I guess, how did you feel? You come out of it going, we won the fucking Super Bowl.
Right. It was 26 years since we won the last Super Bowl. We've got a lot of them, but there was a big drought. And that one, it was not a good game. It had one, it had a couple exciting plays. Willie Parker's run and Randall L's throw to Hines were both great plays. But it was not, compared to the Arizona Super Bowl, it was not that.
You know what it is?
But it was a win.
Well, that was one of the greatest games ever.
Well, no, I know that. That's one of my favorite.
That's actually the best Super Bowl of all time to my.
I love that fucking game so much. I can't even.
But
I'm getting excited just thinking about it.
Yeah, that was probably to me the greatest Super Bowl ever. Well, right up last year, 1A, 1B. But here's the thing. Here's the difference. You'd say, well, there were all these issues. Yeah, but we won the fucking Super Bowl.
Yep.
Wrestling fans would say, we won the Super Bowl. Yeah, but there were all these issues.
Right.
So.
Yeah. It's different, but I would not, when we talked about this before, we talked about it with Greenfield. It's, wrestling creative is a fucking impossible job, because you're never going to please us. And that's not even getting into the fact if you're in WWE creative, then you're trying to please the crazy 70-year-old man who's in the gym half the time. So It's
like Triple H says there, NXT is heavy metal.
Mm-hmm.
WWE is pop music, and NXT can. That's why NXT does so much better with pleasing the fans, because the fans that they know their fan base, and their fan base is very particular, and they know how to please those people.
And they're trying to please less people. So right, they're not trying to.
Yeah, they don't need to appeal to a wider audience.
Right.
They don't. That's why they can do the shit that they do.
Right. They're never going to try to sell out 100,000 seats arena by themselves. So,
and that's a fair thing to say too, that they can beat Bayley 100 million times and not Cena, because Cena is if it doesn't work. Okay, so if they do it with Bayley and it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. Nothing changes. If they do it with Cena and it doesn't work, your business could torpedo. They turned Austin heel at WrestleMania 17 and business went way down. Right. It's one decision. One wrong call on your big star, and they never recovered. It's literally never been as big as it was at that point since they turned Austin heel.
I mean, that wasn't the only reason it fell off.
It wasn't the only reason, but it was a very big.
You're right.
You don't want to cheer. They don't want to boo this guy. This is Steve Austin. Just stunner everybody and get out of there, like they're booking Brock right now.
Yep.
Especially if they're trying to turn Brock heel or turn him into a fucking comedy character. And people sit there and go, "What the fuck are you? I'm not watching this. This is stupid." So there's some of that, but in NXT they have the. It's the cool thing, and it's very there's privilege there. I guess they have the ability to fail, and it doesn't matter. They don't need to make money.
Right.
They will.
They can mask a lot of things. They're WWE's indie. They can mask a lot of things with a good match too. If the storytelling doesn't work out, that's like there's a lot of things that would have. Like I said, I think the tag team tournament booking would have gotten eviscerated on the main roster, but
I've seen people say that a lot of the booking would have got eviscerated on the main roster, and I don't know that that's the case. Well, you say,
I don't think I've heard that about the end of Sasha Bayley. I don't think that's necessarily true.
That's a stupid ass complaint.
I agree. I don't think that. Yeah,
I'll say that. That's a stupid ass complaint. There's no complaints about that match.
No. And it's because, you could argue about whether this one or Brooklyn was better. You can point out a couple of, iffy spots. But the point is that the story was fucking impeccable. And that's why you can get away with all that shit. And that's why it wouldn't work on the main roster, because they never would have gotten a chance to tell that story.
The match is good because the story's good.
Right.
And there are people,
and because you care about the characters.
You'll get these snobby motherfuckers who show up and are like, well, it was a little sloppy. A couple botches. I counted 6 botches. You can't call it a match of the year candidate with 6 botches in there. And to that person, you just want to fucking F5 them into oblivion. Because it's like, dude, fuck off. It's like, that's not the fucking point. Again, the story makes it. I think it wasn't as good as Brooklyn. Wasn't as good as Brooklyn because Brooklyn was where it culminated. This was just a sequel. Okay. I think it was Vidance or somebody. There's a lot of people in our threads, and God, I love our threads. Sometimes they get out of control. Like if we talk about Ava, fuck, dude, we couldn't even start this podcast without people going, "Are you talking about Ava?" Because if you are, I'm not listening.
Man, I don't want to talk about Ava.
Yeah, we're probably not going to talk. Well, yeah, we are. Fuck you. But no. So it's 2 different things. They're 2 very different things. 2 very different stories. But within those stories. And people were pointing out subtleties that I didn't even look at. Like, Sasha had said, "You're only 3 seconds better than me," right? Or 3 seconds is the difference here. And then the winning...
You're only better than me for 3 seconds, I think is what she said. Yeah.
The winning submission was because Sasha couldn't last for those last 3 seconds.
Yep.
How great is that? How fucking awesome is that? That's amazing. That's great shit. Now, you can look at that and go...
And the submission is based... the submission's based on the hand injury, which is what Bayley had at Brooklyn, which is one of the spots everybody talked about, was when Sasha stomped on her hand in a submission. And so it all ties back into that. It's Bayley's maturation to get a little bit more vicious in order to prove that she belongs.
And that was the hand that Sasha used to snatch the fucking headband off of little poor Izzy, made her cry and threw it at her. And it all ties in and plays in together. You go, this is fucking wonderful. This is a great story. Not as good as Brooklyn. Not as good as Brooklyn. Because
that might be my new favorite impersonation. That might.
I don't even know who I'm impersonating.
I don't even know either, but that's Twitter smart guy.
That's
Geno's
absolutely
new character, Twitter smart guy.
Not as good as Brooklyn because work was better. You know, there were no botches, less botches, wasn't sloppy. Like, fuck off. Well, I don't know why. And in the Brooklyn match, Sasha almost died.
Sasha almost died in this one too.
Stop landing on your neck, Sasha Banks.
It scares me.
We love you, but yeah,
We want to see you wrestle for 15 more years, not 5 more.
She's also the best heel in WWE.
Yeah, she's fucking awesome. Told you.
You were right. You were right, and I was wrong. And I'm eating crow. And I love the taste of crow. Although,
yeah, I mean, that's who cares if you get proven wrong. I hope that in a year we're talking about how Eva Marie is the greatest female wrestler of all time. I hope I'm wrong because that'll mean I'm getting entertained by her.
Yes.
I was wrong about Dana Brooke. I'm enjoying the shit out of her work right now. I was tearing her apart 6 months ago. I'm so happy I was wrong.
Brandon Stroud was getting bombed because he was writing some super negative shit about Dana Brooke, and then people were like, "Oh, hey," pointed out to him, and he was saying the same thing. He's like, "Dude, we can grow, people. Shit changes in life, and you roll with it." And you go, "You know what? I was wrong. She was awesome in the match with Asuka."
Yep. Asuka.
Yeah. No, I said Asuka. I hear Asuka, and I think of Rusev.
But apparently, that's how you're supposed. I mean, like she gave everybody like a Japanese lesson on Twitter.
Yeah, I know. But anyway. Every time I see it, I think of Asuka, though.
I do too. It's
so hard. Asuka. And I think of Rusev. I think of Rusev Pudria, Rusev Asuka.
I thought it was Machka.
It is, but now it makes me think of Asuka. So, and then
you're messing up 2 different languages. I see.
I'm just gimmicked to death is the problem.
I'm telling you.
She was great.
I mean, if you're wrong, if being proved wrong means you get to watch something that you enjoy, who the fuck cares? Proven wrong, whatever. I'm tired.
Grammar Nazi. I'm that guy now. Not as good as Brooklyn.
Twitter smart grammar Nazi guy. Anyway, yeah. So Dana had a good match. I don't know. What were we talking about? We're just all over the place. Asuka. Yeah.
Being proven wrong. Being proven wrong is a good thing.
I hope I'm wrong about Ava.
Yeah. And that's everyone listening. Listen. That's the stupidest thing I've ever said. To everyone listening, listen. No. So please don't do that very human thing, and I understand it's a human thing, where you're decided, and so you just refuse to back that down because there's some weird sense of pride or some, and that's fine. It's a human reaction. You don't want to anything that alters your tried and true view of the world is something you will naturally want to reject. That's not a you thing. That's a human thing. Okay? Please overcome this. If it turns out that Ava actually does start to put together really good matches and has a good match with the champion and continues to get the nuclear heat, and this whole thing isn't just a scam for Total Divas like we seem to think it is now.
Think it is, but
it's absolutely that, probably. My shit always works sometimes. Please just override that and go, you know what? Ava's great. I was wrong. And when I say great, I just mean take yourself out of kayfabe for a minute to look into the bubble and go, wow, this is really cool. And when you get back in the bubble, go back to booing her.
Yeah.
Don't be Full Sail. I've seen people complaining about Full Sail.
The internet is a fucked up place.
It's a weird place, dude. It's everyone is represented, and so when the majority is strong one way and there's 13 people who are strong the other way, it's like you want to mob rush the 13. And just like what I was saying, it's the very human thing where we're like, okay, you 13 aren't allowed to think that. You're fucking idiots for thinking this. When they're not. It's totally cool, but we just have this mentality where we can't handle that they think something separate than us.
And there's a total cycle and we're seeing it with Sasha Bailey now, where something is universally loved, or if something's universally hated, then a day later, then the argument starts coming the other way, and a bunch of people write stuff about how it wasn't that great, or it's not as bad as you say. People will defend even the worst movie ever, or you'll get somebody who writes a think piece about how fucking, I don't even know, Transformers 4 was really a dissection of global capitalism or something. And then after that, then you get the backlash against the backlash. And it's just insane.
The backlash against the backlash.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies is Almost Heroes. Chris Farley.
Uh-huh.
And that is universally considered one of the worst movies ever. Like, especially as far as his movies go. And I never understood that because I thought it's classic Farley hilarity. And people just destroy it. And they destroy me for people destroy me for liking Eva Marie. And it really bothers me because you know what bothers me the most, actually? People who don't understand when we're working within kayfabe.
Yeah.
This even happened with us in Slack with Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Where we were like, because we saw Izzy and she had her, just asked to borrow it next time, Sasha. And she's working her gimmick. And I had said, God, I hope Sasha puts her in the bank statement next time. That's within kayfabe. I don't actually hope that Sasha hurts this little girl.
No, and I said something mocking the family for cashing in on their 15 minutes of fame.
Fucking glory hounds.
Yeah. And
Bill's like, geez, cool guys. Real cool guys. Can't believe you. Brooklyn was better. Not as good as Brooklyn. And, and we're like, dude, it's in kayfabe, bro. We don't actually. It's like, oh, okay. Good job. You worked me. Good stuff. Like, yeah, we did. Like, so again, understand that when I say, man, Ava's great, I don't mean she's great. Like, I don't mean that's taking yourself out of the bubble. Again, think of it like that. It's all a big bubble. And then when you jump outside of it, you talk about what's in the bubble and you can have a more clear, objective view. When you're in the bubble, go with it. I dare you to go with it and not do this shit where you want to be the hipster who's outside of the bubble looking in, but you're in the bubble while talking like that. Don't do it.
It's really difficult, though. Wrestling makes it hard.
Sure.
I find I have that problem trying to write about it all the time. It's like, because I know if I sit back and if I go and read something I wrote 6 months ago, I'm probably shitting on something that I now like. And I'm not talking about like a person, but I'm talking about a certain kind of story or an angle. And a lot of it depends. It's just, it's tough. I don't know how to even explain it.
I felt bad for Stroud because people were looking at stuff he printed 6 months ago and using it against him now. And I'm going, again, shit's changed. Like, stuff happens that makes it different. Okay, so didn't
somebody just do that to you too on something? You were asking me to look at, like, what did you say on a podcast or something, because people were throwing it back at you.
Yeah, this happens all the time to anyone who has documented stuff for a long period of time. They'll find a way to fuck you over with it. But yeah, like even Kane, they were talking about Rollins. They were claiming
but you were blaming Rollins for something. Yeah, it had to do with the injury stuff, right?
They wanted me to bury Eva for
the Carmella thing
at the house show,
which is a giant work. But anyway,
we think so. The same way I buried, apparently, Seth Rollins for injuring Sting at Night of Champions, and I went to you and was like, I don't think I buried him.
Mm-mm.
I think I said it was his fault. It is. It's your fucking fault. He's a 56-year-old man. You're doing a buckle bomb. What's the matter with you? Don't do it. I don't care if that's the match layout. I don't care if Sting told you to do it. Just don't. It's a stupid thing to do. Of course he's going to get hurt. It's your fault because you threw him. Like, that's not me. Well, yeah, but he's not. People read so much into that. Again, so another thing we need to do as fans of wrestling is just simplify the shit, which will help us get to the sports point where we're like, I don't give a shit that the Bears were in a close game with the Raiders and needed a last-second field goal to win. I care that they won. That makes me feel good. Do the same thing. Simplify it down. It's not that Rollins has got this reputation for being, and I'm saying, well, yeah, but Sting agreed to it, so you want to add all this context, fine. You know what happened? He picked him up, and he fucking threw him against a buckle, and Sting's entire world was ruined. Who's the guy who threw him against the buckle? Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
It's Seth Rollins' fault. That's what happened. And when I say it's Seth Rollins' fault, I'm not like, again, don't read into that to where we're assigning this to where, he should feel miserable and he should be punished. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying you're the one who threw the guy who was hurt. You can't tell me if we're sitting around and I throw my arms all about and someone gets popped in the mouth and they get their jaw broken and you go, well, I was just doing a whirl and you just happened to be in my way. You were in the way of my arm. No, motherfucker, your jaw's broken because I punched you in it. Like, so people are weird about that. So, and if it's the Ava thing happens, okay, so apparently Ava kicked her in the fucking head and Carmella was hurt. So guess what? It's Ava's fault. Ava hurt Carmella. That's the same thing I said with Seth.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually did the context surrounding stuff with Seth. I actually gave him every benefit of the doubt, and I'll give Ava the benefit of the doubt in the same way. Like I brought up that Seth hurt Cena. 100% his fault. And that injury is the time where you go, that's on you. And not only is that on you, but you need to work better. You're actually injuring the one guy on this roster we can't afford to have injured. So it's different. Whereas with Sting, there's at least you can give some leeway as far as, well, okay, a little bit of it's on Sting because of how he's, where you throw him from, and he doesn't have as much control of his body because he's hurt earlier in the match, and you can't control that much of it. But the little bit you can control, he couldn't, but he still had to agree to it, and he did agree to it. And this, you could add enough context. So the producer who set up the match decided they wanted to do that spot, fine, whatever. You could do that. Not with the Cena thing. And I say, okay, that's additional layer of context to actually blame him more. And you can talk all the shit you want about Eva, but this is the first time that we've heard of her injuring someone, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
And Carmella wasn't even injured.
Right.
Cena was out with a broken nose. Sting might never wrestle again. Carmella was fine 20 minutes later. And everyone made it into this huge thing because we reported on it because that was the thing. They did the X, people came out. It was this whole ordeal. And now we're not even sure if it wasn't a fucking work. And maybe it's just a part of the whole thing, and we'll see that later on an episode of fucking Total Divas.
Yep.
So everyone's like, we want to eviscerate her like you eviscerated Seth? No. They're two totally different situations. Also, she's not the WWE World Heavyweight Champion in the headlining spot of a fucking pay-per-view or a Raw, where there's that much more pressure on you to not do this kind of shit. And you're considered one of the best in the world. Dave Meltzer has consistently called Rollins' work some of the best ever. Like, dude's been putting on awesome matches, and that's true. But if that's the case, I was looking at Disco Inferno's Twitter, and he's saying the same shit. So you hurt people like that, that's you. You don't know how to work. You're not supposed to hurt people this way. And we talked about that. Is he reckless? I don't know that it's fair to say that, but at the same time, dude, you severely injured two people.
Right. When you're doing this right, that doesn't happen.
Yeah. So it's like, is it your fault? Yeah. Well, you're not reckless. Yeah, but you know what I mean? So it's like you have to, and again, the circumstances are different. All the context surrounding it matters. So and I was providing that in a way, it's part of what we do here, writing about the shit and talking about the stuff. It actually helps his cause, but also shit is what it is. So eviscerate Ava? No. Ava's on an NXT house show in front of 35 people, and it might have been a work. Seth is the WWE World Heavyweight Champion in the main event of a Raw and a pay-per-view, and he's seriously hurting people who they were seriously depending on to help sell shit. And if they're gone, shit gets fucked with your entire business. It's way different, dudes. Come on. It's way different. Don't let your hate of Ava Marie make you illogically stupid. Just don't.
Yeah, that's what I was putting that on a pillow. That's good advice.
Yeah.
So
we love Sasha Bailey. We're not even gonna talk about Raw. There was nothing to talk about.
No, New
Day's great. All the usual shit that we say.
Is New Day? Are they sticking in the main event?
Yeah, looks that way. Even though the numbers, as far as I know, have been down every time they've been put in the main event.
Well, what are they? Because you mentioned that they can't afford to be without Cena, but now we know they're without him for next month. So
at least
interesting. Yeah, I thought he was definitely back for something after Survivor Series or something.
No, the last I heard was he's back New Year.
Oh, wow.
He's not advertised again until December 26th, the post-Christmas tour.
Wow.
And even then, that could change. So he's probably out at least for 2 months. If he leaves after Hell in a Cell, so you're November, December, and then he'll come back for the start to the build to WrestleMania 32,
right.
Rumble, all that stuff. What are they going to do in that time? They're just going to get by, I guess. And
they're going to, one of the rumors that went around is that Ambrose will get some more time as a top babyface. So we'll see.
They're not even using him.
No, I think. And
they set up the Jericho thing.
The Jericho feud is still out there somewhere. And Jericho's hinting that might be that Ambrose's WrestleMania program might be against.
Oh no! Go away, Jericho.
Stop it! Everybody loves Chris Jericho.
Jericho's work is just not. I'm not interested in him. He's not
He
interesting.
just needs to put some pants on, and then it'll be fine.
No, he just needs to not be there because the whole put people up, like how they used him at Night of Champions, perfect. But don't rely on him for a WrestleMania program.
I thought his match with Owens was a lot of fun. I mean, it's not 5 stars or anything, but
House show.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. Just be a dude. That's fine, but like not a guy that they're actually going to rely on in a WrestleMania program anymore. I just don't. There's no room.
Why he's no worse than Taker or Rock? I mean, these are all guys we're going to get. Possibly Austin. I mean,
Austin will do something on the show.
Oh, he'll do something, but I don't think he's working a match. But I'm just saying. I mean, WrestleMania is always the old guy show.
I mean, no, I don't like it. Well, this is the time. This is the time, man. You fucking get the guys the opportunity, and Dean's a guy that they. I don't know.
One thing. I mean, Bill Hanstock wrote a piece yesterday about the main event scene, and he got jumped on a little bit in the comments for it. But
of course,
I appreciate Bill's perspective even when I don't agree with it, because I think he does a pretty good job. He goes a little bit overboard for me in the positivity train, but he does a better job of stepping outside the bubble than I do. And just looking at it, and I think he's right. A lot of those guys that people were saying, that guy's not a main eventer, that guy's not a main eventer. Yeah, they are. I mean, they're not winning they're not being used the way you want them to be used, but they're a big fucking deal. And Ambrose is one of those guys.
We talked about this. Guys who can be main eventers, but they don't know how to book them.
Yeah. But they have had a main event spot. They've been given, Ambrose has main evented pay-per-views.
Yeah.
He's main evented plenty of Raws. And it's just they're not being used the way we want them to be used. And probably not in the way that would make them an Austin level, a Cena level star, gives them a chance to. But that doesn't mean that they're not a big deal.
I agree. And
we'll find out more in November and I guess December too, when Ambrose and like Big E and Roman are getting. I mean, I think Roman's doing really good work right now.
Man, they're going to rely even more on Rollins.
Yeah, they are.
Oh God. Oh God. I hope the Kane thing ends at least. Well, they added the stipulation.
Yeah, Kane will have to no longer be the world's best director of operations.
That if the Demon Kane can't win, then Corporate Kane. I will tell you, this storyline has made Rollins look like just the stupidest son of a bitch.
And that took some doing because he was already a stupid son of a bitch. So now he's the stupidest.
My guy is at MSG. He climbs up onto the top of the cage. He's getting ready to escape. Cena's incapacitated. And did you watch this?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
I
think I wrote the story on it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Cena's incapacitated. That shows how much
Cena doesn't pay any attention.
I'm sick. I don't give a damn. So
you don't give a damn when you're healthy. You don't read my stuff.
True. So he's up there. Kane comes out, and he waits at the bottom. So Seth Rollins has a choice. I can escape the cage, win the U.S. title, and have to deal with Kane immediately. Or I can get back in the ring and continue wrestling John Cena. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, he decides he's going to do a big splash off the top of the cage to Cena, who he has given all this time to recover because he's been trying to decide what he's going to do while Kane stands on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
And Cena recovers enough to roll out of the way, and Rollins misses the splash. And now he's fucked up. And I believe immediately after Cena picked him up, gave him the AA, pinned him to retain the title.
Yep, you are correct.
And what happened right after that?
Didn't Kane come in and tombstone him to hell or whatever?
Kane walked into the cage.
Yeah.
Just casually strolled right in and beat the shit out of him.
Mm-hmm.
So let's rewind back to that moment when he's on top of the cage and making the decision.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what's going. I wish they could do like the little brain cloud so we could see what's in his head. And I imagine it's just like a piece of pizza.
Like on The Simpsons when Homer would get distracted by a donut or a potato chip.
Yeah, like he just saw someone in the crowd eating a bag or eating some nachos and was like, "I'm hungry," and then just jumped.
And this is the guy whose gimmick was as the architect of the Shield, right?
The smart guy. Yeah, the dude
he chose the path that got everything wrong, and so he didn't get anything that he could have gotten out of the situation.
If you're going to splash, jump, kill yourself anyway, why wouldn't you do it to Kane so that he's taken out, and when your feet hit the ground, you win the belt? You fucking dummy. Like, what is the matter with the thought process here? And I guess that's a time where you go, or where you book the heels. He's supposed to cheat and be a coward. He's not supposed to be a dumbass.
Right.
Like, I don't even want, I feel bad for the guy. I don't want to boo him. I kind of feel sorry for him, and I'm not supposed to feel sorry for you. Because you're so monumentally stupid, Seth. Like, I just want someone to be like, hey, dude, maybe don't try to kill yourself, A. B, don't make the completely wrong, illogical decision in the process. Because even going back in, even if he hits Cena and wins, Kane's still going to get in the fucking and beat him up anyway. All you've done now is waste a step.
Yeah.
That's a problem with cage matches.
Well, Cage, you really shouldn't. That's what I was going to say, is they should not be booking any. I mean, I guess it was going to be a house show, so maybe that's the excuse. But I have not seen a good cage match since we stopped. The thing that used to cover up the fact that the psychology of them. Yeah, I mean, they used to be able to cover up the fact that the psychology of them was stupid by having it be a lot of blood. And now they can't even do that, so it's just a couple of idiots in a cage who don't seem to understand the rules of the match, or who are deliberately who somehow slow down when they start to crawl towards the door, or whatever. It's just
psychology is just so over the moon dumb.
Yeah, there's no way to make it work.
It's like lucha. You got to just go with it so much that you realize you're going with it and you can't deal.
But at least with lucha, that psychology is across the whole show, so it's easier to suspend disbelief.
And there's cool shit that happens while you're suspending it, not just a dude crawling slower than molasses. Right. A guy staring at it.
Right. Somebody all of a sudden decides this world-class CrossFit athlete has to sit on top of the cage and catch his breath for 5 minutes.
Yeah. No shit.
I mean, it doesn't work anymore.
And we know he's a CrossFit athlete because he won't stop telling us.
Yep. That should be his heel gimmick. He should just talk. He should just be a CrossFit guy and just talk about it all the time.
Simon Dean.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Have you ever met anybody who's like a CrossFit advocate? I mean, I work with a couple. I used to, and that's all they fucking talk about.
No, I stay as far away from him as possible.
Yeah, it's really annoying.
What's the joke? A CrossFitter, an atheist, and something else walk into a bar, and what was it?
I don't know this joke, so you're on your own here, buddy.
Yeah, I blew it already.
Call Becky Lynch.
Not as good as Brooklyn. That's my fallback now. Not as good as Brooklyn. Yeah, Becky's great. They're gonna script that. That's what I put in I did another Becky puns post last night. They're gonna script it. You don't like the puns?
Mm-mm.
Oh my god.
I haven't since she started doing them in NXT. You can go back. You can go back and read my stuff from a year ago, and I didn't like them then either. I don't.
You're fired. That is unacceptable. They're going to script it and try to put it on TV, and it's going to be a disaster. But for now, she's just she literally got a piece of bread, some lettuce, and a plastic knife, and was like, "All right, let's do this vine. I'm ready." Not like, how cool is that?
No.
God, you're the worst. You're the worst.
What was the Cena joke? What does the ghost say to John Cena or whatever? I mean, that.
Yeah, what does a ghost dress up as for Halloween?
My 8-year-old nephew has better jokes.
John Cena, because you can't see. And then her reaction afterwards was great. She's like,
"That's funny. I will agree with that. Yes,
it's seasonal."
Laughing at her own joke while whoever it was it Renee or Eden? Just stares there. Eden's good at that. Eden's a good straight man. She just stares at you like you're a lunatic.
Straight man. Wow, sexist.
Iron Man. It's not. Lita says it's not sexist.
I actually think she was right. It would have been
demeaning. I do too. I stopped trying to write anything else in my previews and stuff. It's just they called it an Iron Man match. It is what it is. We all know that they're women.
Another Meltzer Alvarez talking point that I thought was interesting was it's interesting to me that, and including us, no one picked up on the actual demeaning part of it where it was an Iron Man match. It was 30 minutes. They didn't give him an hour. They're women, can't go an hour? Fuck's this about? And we didn't even no one grabbed that and was like, "Nah."
I thought the original Iron Man match concept wasn't an hour or something. I thought somebody had thrown that out there.
I don't know either, but it's funny that the thing that we got upset about was what they were calling it, and not it wouldn't matter either which way. And the one thing that we could point to where it's like you're actually not treating them equal was the time limit, and no one said anything. And they've done 30-minute Iron Man matches for men, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm. They've done 30, 45, and an hour. I think they've done all of them.
So it's like it's not like unprecedented, and they're just making some new shit for women. But yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting too. But yeah, what did you give that match?
I don't know. I mean, I like Brooklyn better.
Oh God.
It wasn't as good as Brooklyn. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would give it like, I don't know, 4.5 stars, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I was fucking enthralled. I sat there for a half an hour. I was completely, it was everything I want in a match. So I don't have, I mean, I have problems with the ratings and the grades and all that shit. Because like I said, I was for 2 hours and 15 minutes, whatever it ended up running. I never looked at my watch once. I mean, I was watching a baseball game and getting pissed about that, but was a rare occurrence. I mean, I was completely sucked into 2 hours and 15 minutes of really great wrestling entertainment. And so I don't have any complaints. I mean, I gave it an A- because I didn't like it quite as much as Brooklyn, but they were both great shows.
That's you I'm impersonating. No, it's because
Brooklyn. I counted 6 boxes.
Yeah, counted six botches. Pretty sloppy. 6 botches. Can't say as good as Brooklyn. 6 botches. Can't do it.
Hashtag not as good as Brooklyn.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was perfect. Everything about it was phenomenal. And it's the cool thing too, where you go back and watch, and people are finding even more things that play.
And it's true. NXT has an advantage that they can script this thing out for a month that that they don't necessarily have on the main roster. But that doesn't change the fact that that's why we watch, is we want to be able to go back and say, oh, look at all this cool little shit. Look, everything matters. I mean, that's what you want.
I'll also say this. If WWE doesn't capitalize on Sasha right away, they should add her to the Hell in a Cell match and put the fucking belt on her. Because
I would wait. I would let Hell in a Cell blow off Nikki and then because I think
you're probably right.
The Lance Storm argument about how real change is going to have to happen. The Bellas can go off and have their own feud on the side, but let the championship match be Charlotte versus Sasha.
I have a Bella question. Don't let me forget to ask it before we get out of here.
All right.
Sasha Banks is the best heel in all of WWE.
Mm-hmm.
And people are going, well, Izzy's in on the work. I don't care. If that's true, it doesn't change anything. Right. Understand this, people. All right? Now we can talk about it without, it's work. You fucking dickheads. So I can't remember the last time anyone did something so deliciously evil as she snatched that fucking headband from that kid. And that kid is easy to hate if you're a snarky fuck like we are.
Right.
Because it's a kid and they're having a good time and it's just like, shut up. And don't make me laugh, Sean. No.
I'm having a heart attack right now.
Yeah. And no, so she gets in the ring while Bayley's being counted out because she threw her into the stage setup. Okay, that's key.
Yep.
And she's prancing around with it, doing the mock cry, going boo-hoo. And then I can't believe she did this while Izzy is being consoled by a man I assume is her father.
Right.
He's holding her and rubbing her back as she's fucking bawling her eyes out in his shoulder. Sasha throws the headband at the whole family.
Mm-hmm.
And he's looking at her like he almost had that look like maybe it is a work, and he's looking at her like, damn, you kind of went really far with this.
Right.
We agreed to it, but Jesus, lady. Like, which is just like, oh my God. Anything bad I ever said about Sasha Banks. This is me. Okay, the whatever you call it.
Eating crow, admitting you were wrong.
Yeah. She is just, oh my God, better than Becky. Better coming from me, right? Better than Becky. She's miles ahead of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Holy fucking shit, dude! Like this, you won't see anyone heel like that on the main roster because they'll never let them for whatever stupid ass reason. I don't know why, but how good is that? It's so good. And they had this and also it was the story, right? Because it's Izzy.
Yep.
And then they've got all this press on it. And it's just, what's the worst thing? It's the worst thing we've seen since the Bearer stuff.
Yeah.
Which at the time I was one of the people who was like, I don't think you need to do this.
Yeah.
But you know what? I've totally changed my mind. They should have gone even further. They should have fucking dug up a grave. Like, anything you can do to get that heat, dude, get that heat. Like, that's where I'm at now. Get that. Like, don't, like, there's some rape stuff that's happened on the independent scene stuff, you know? Like,
yeah. I mean,
don't do that shit. So I won't go that far. But, like, yeah, go really far to get the heat. So make a little girl cry and then throw something at her head. Like, how good is that? Like, dude, she's bawling in her dad's arms, and he's like, that's even better to think of. That he's like, we agreed to this, but God, Sasha, like, she's crying. Like, it already happened. You don't need to keep going. And Sasha's like, fuck her. She basically slit Izzy's throat and was laughing, looking at her father drinking the blood. And that is what made it so great when she lost.
Mm-hmm.
And we had botch. Submission was non-tight. It wasn't applied properly. Fuck you guys, man. That is all the stuff that goes into it that makes it so wonderful. And to the person who hoped we wouldn't talk so much about this match, I'm sorry.
Yep. It was really good.
Not sorry.
Sorry. Hey, James
Sorry
Storm.
about your damn luck. What do you think of that before we get out of here?
We'll see. I talk about eating crow. I've never in my life been a Rhino fan. I was not excited to see him come to NXT, but he's been used great, and he's been really entertaining. He's been
awesome.
Yeah, so if that's what Storm's going to do, then I mean, Storm is not somebody that I've loved a lot. He's done some great work. It was usually as part of a tag team with somebody that I do love a lot that I wish would come to NXT more than Storm, Bobby Roode. But hey, if he can come in, I'm sure he's got some shit to teach people, and if he can come in and put some guys over and have some good matches, go for it. I mean, they need people like that to do all the house shows, and you know, Finn's not going to be there forever. Apollo Crews is not going to be there forever.
Tell me about it. We don't want to talk about spoilers on this show.
But I mean, you don't need a spoiler to know that they've got a rocket strapped to Cruz's back. I mean,
serious rocket.
Triple H couldn't stop talking about him on the conference call or in the Twitter Q&A. I mean, they see money in this guy, and I think Vince sees money in that guy. So he's going to get an Owens-like progression up the chart. I hope so.
Put a title on him.
He needs a little work on his promos, and I'd like to see him get a character. But
he's too happy for us.
He's just got the Finn problem of they're not giving him a character. He's got the reality era. I'm happy to be here. I've worked hard, so that's it. Give me some fucking layers.
Yeah.
But
Storm and Bobby Roode had one of the best feuds. Man, they did a go home promo, I think, before Bound for Glory. It's one of the best things I've seen.
It should have been so much bigger than it was, but TNA'd it. But
it's TNA, but I mean, that go home promo was just, man, it's one.
And Beer Money Inc. is an all-time great tag team.
I love Beer Money Inc.
If they were in WWE, they would have been fucking huge.
Yeah, they could work in NXT, do another Dusty Classic.
Yeah.
They got a lot of good tag teams right now, and that's a legit tag team. And I think it's funny that TNA guys don't go to WWE; they go to NXT.
Yeah, well,
people are like, funny or logical? How's it logical for a fucking 40-year-old dude to go to a developmental promotion? But then again, maybe because you got to put over the guys got to work with people who are better than they are.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how you get better.
Yeah,
So
you can't just work with other rookies. You got to work with these guys, and that's the whole player coach role that people are talking about.
Yeah.
So that's how Regal started down there. He was still a part-time competitor before he had his last neck surgery. So.
The Bella question.
All right, the Bella question.
Yep. This will be it. Do you have anything else? You have anything else to talk about? No? All right, good. I was thinking about this during the Bayley-Sasha match.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry again for my nasty sounds. I'm sick, whatever. Nikki. Not Brie, because Brie's a dumpster fire.
She's really bad.
She's awful. Just, please stop it. Just get her out.
Come on, Nikki!
Come on, Nikki. And not even that, but in the ring.
I know, I can't not make the joke. She's just not good in the ring.
Yeah, I think they did the 6-man and
anything.
Against Team
She's not
Bad.
good standing outside of the ring. She doesn't know what to do there either.
They did the 6-man against Team Bad, and it was like, this is exposed who belongs and who doesn't. Sasha's the star. Nikki absolutely feels like she belongs, and everyone else is disposable, but Brie is just, please step away from the vehicle. But I was thinking, so Nikki Bella.
Mm-hmm.
imagine she's in NXT.
Mm-hmm.
Could you see her having a match like a Sasha Bailey, like a Sasha Becky, like a Sasha Charlotte? Wow, there's a common link there.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that weird?
Could you see her having even a Natty Charlotte, even a Paige Emma? Could you see her having one of those epic matches that we come out of it and we all go, God, wrestling rules. God, NXT's great. God, this is so wonderful. Could she transition to NXT and then have one of those amazing matches? That's my big point. Not to transition to NXT, but could she have one of those matches in NXT with a fellow woman who's a great wrestler, and everyone would lose their shit like we have, and like any of those aforementioned matches? Do you think that's something she could do?
I think she could. I think she would get some small percentage of the population would still not acknowledge that it had happened, even though it had. She's got a little bit of that built-in total diva sentiment.
You're saying even if she tore the house down, people would act like she didn't just because they hate her that much?
Or they would give more credit to her competitor, or I don't think a lot of people, I think like the general Cageside community would acknowledge that she had just torn the house down, because I think a lot of us have come around on her, but there would be some.
Yeah, there are some people who are.
There would be some diehard Team Bella haters that would.
They lump the two together.
Would not acknowledge it. Yeah.
She's probably better off getting away from Brie.
Mm-hmm.
Because the people, Bellas are awful. They have no talent, and it's like, have you not watched TV for the past year?
Right.
Brie doesn't. You're right. You could say that about Brie, and that's fine. Brie's got. You could use Brie in certain ways, and I think it would work. Like when she was doing the stuff with Brian and Stephanie.
Yeah, but she was even bad in that, though, man.
I thought the Stephanie match was awesome.
Oh, the Stephanie match, it was all right. It was. I don't know if it was awesome. It was all right.
Well, for my expectation.
Yeah. It was a good story. It was a good story.
Listen, that's what I'm going to do every time. Anytime anyone does that, Brooklyn. No, but I thought it was really good, and so she's got her uses. But Nikki is like, you can't if you haven't been paying attention. If you think Nikki's not a good wrestler, you're not paying attention.
No,
she's
Nikki carried that Night of Champions match with Charlotte. She was the ring general for that, not Charlotte.
Yeah, she was the reason it was good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't say that to shit on Charlotte. I think that's trendy now too. I think Charlotte has a lot of room to grow, and she was growing more when she was in NXT, working with trainers every day than she is now. But so I don't say that to shit on Charlotte, but it was very clear who was calling the action and who was driving the big spots, and that was Nikki in that match. And
well, that's the heel. It's her job, but
yeah, but still, I mean, she rose to the challenge. She is somebody who is what her haters say she is, which is just a fitness model that is only there because of her looks. Would not be able to call
her
that
boyfriend,
match. Right?
Yeah, her boyfriend wasn't in the ring with her, guys.
I don't know. She might be breaking up with him. I don't know.
Ooh, getting with Dolph. Get that Dolph dick. Get that white Dolph dick.
What the hell?
No, it's because
cold medicine's kicking in.
No, remember it's that one segment. Remember when he had that awful tan line?
Oh yeah.
But I don't think someone was.
I don't remember singing about white Dolph dick.
Get that white Dolph dick.
I don't think that.
Do you think they were going with that program? They teased it. Was that to work us?
I don't know. I mean, didn't Dolph still work with? What happened last night? Who was on SmackDown? I didn't watch it.
Dolph worked with New Day. Dolph did work with New Day. Maybe what they're doing is they're setting it up to where he was going to answer the challenge, and New Day took him out and dragging his lifeless body out, which was a boss thing. I will say about Raw that I love that they're making New Day more aggressive because they needed to be more aggressive because comedy acts don't get over. That they're not going to turn them face, which I think you're right would be a mistake, but it would be the easy thing to do given their reaction. You got to actually work to make them heels, and that was a good step. Yeah, I think maybe what they're doing is they're going to take the belt off Cena because he's leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll have Ziggler feud with New Day.
Mm-hmm. Could work.
Maybe that's the plan.
Yeah.
But Total Divas comes back next year.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. Because Cena's leaving, and Total Divas is filming.
Mm-hmm.
The Paige stuff is absolutely about Total Divas. With Natty, that's Total Divas.
Yep. You
can already see the imprint of that show on everything that they're doing in the Divas division now. Yep. So, man, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, they said Nikki's not taking time off while Cena's off.
Well, we don't, not that we know of.
Right. Well, she's still advertised for her shows, right? Which they've taken him off of the advertising, but it's a bigger deal. You don't want to advertise him and have him not show. Whereas if Nikki doesn't show, people aren't going to riot.
Well, they had to answer for Cena, like people like me were emailing and going, "Hey, what's going on?" And
people would ask for their money back if you said Cena was going to be there and he wasn't, even though they put cards subject to change. They have given refunds for big stars before.
You'll get those weird people who are like, "It says card subject to change," and they're like, "It's not dishonest. It might not happen." No, if you're advertising someone all the way up until the day of the show, like they did that with Ambrose on the pay-per-view, and then they didn't go through it, it was like, you can't do that. That's not right.
Especially when it's Cena. I mean, that's like saying The Rock's going to be in your movie, and then you buy your ticket and you get there and he's not in it all of a sudden.
Or he's in it for like a half a scene, or like he's in there for a minute and then he's gone, and it's like, you had a fucking show. That's because you knew that it would sell more, and then you don't deliver on that, and that's a problem. And that's to close this out. I guess that's the big difference between WWE and NXT. Is part of the jaded part of us where we're like, so it's like some people who are fans of legit football teams, let's say, have the right to bitch when shit's going well because their team fucks them over all the time. I.e., Cincinnati Bengals.
True.
The Dean Ambrose of the world, right? And they're 4-0 now, and they play Seattle this week, and everyone's going, it's Cincinnati. Come on. They're going to fuck this up. Paul's going to throw 6 interceptions, and he's going to go from having the year that he's having, and everyone's like, wow, he's wonderful. Maybe he finally got over the hump. He'll have a bad game, and I guarantee they're going to bury him. Mm-hmm. They're just going to treat him like he's a redheaded stepchild.
Literally.
Yeah, literally. And it's just so people like that can have that sort of feeling. So that's where the difference really comes. In WWE, you expect to be fucked over. You expect that they're going to piss on your foot and tell you it's raining. In NXT, you expect greatness, and they always deliver. When it's time for the big moment, they deliver it. Mm-hmm. No matter who it is. Dating all the way back to the fucking first special when Cesaro was going at it with Sami Zayn.
Yep.
It's just they deliver every time. I set you up to say deal with it and go out.
I know. I panicked. I was thinking about Dave Bautista and I got a little dreamy. So
he's married now. He's off the market.
I know. I'm never gonna get to hook up.
Did you wave? You waved earlier in the show. Was that your wife?
I don't know what you're talking about. That was Dave Bautista. It was. She got home, and you're not going to get to talk to her. And
no, I'm not saying I want to talk to her.